Welcome to Bioglam Curvy Models, where beauty meets confidence and every curve tells a story. The camera opens on the hum of a city before sunrise. Streetlights blink, early buses sigh, and inside a tiny apartment, a woman stands before a mirror. Her name is Devotha. The mirror is cracked on one side, but she loves it anyway. It shows her whole truth, not just the polished parts. She presses her palms against the cool glass and whispers, "One day, this reflection will mean something." Devotha grew up far from city lights, in a town where beauty was defined by silence. The rules were simple: be quiet, be small, be predictable. But she had never been small in spirit. As a child, she turned every corner of her world into a stage, draping bed sheets as gowns, balancing books on her heart like invisible crowns. Her mother would laugh, calling her "my little queen of nowhere." Yet even then, Devotha knew she was born for somewhere. When she was 15, a relative gave her an old-fashioned magazine. The pages were frayed, but every photograph looked like possibility. Women walked runways, smiled into cameras, owned the air around them. She didn't know their languages, their cities, or their fame, but she understood their fire. She whispered to herself, "I'll learn how to carry that kind of light." Years later, she moved to the capital carrying 2 suitcases and one dream. The city smelled of ambition and exhaust fumes. Rent was steep, hope was steeper. She worked days at a clothing stall and nights folding laundry at a hotel. Between shifts, she studied photography and lighting online, watching videos on how to pose, how to find angles, how to command a lens. The first time she applied for a modeling audition, they told her politely that she was lovely but not the type we're looking for. She smiled, said thank you, and went home to cry. Then she wiped her tears and said aloud, "If they don't have a type for me, I'll create one." That was the night she started her own social media page. She didn't have fancy equipment, just her phone, sunlight, and imagination. Her first photo was taken on her balcony, wearing a thrifted dress and confidence borrowed from pure will. She posted it with the caption, "The beginning of everything small is still the beginning." The post got 10 likes, then 20, then 100. It wasn't the numbers that mattered. It was the proof that someone out there saw her. Weeks passed. Devotha kept creating, experimenting with colors, fabric, and movement. She made videos about body confidence, showing unfiltered skin and genuine laughter. Some people applauded, others criticized. She learned quickly that visibility invites both love and noise. One evening, she read a cruel comment about her size. For a moment, it stung. Then she took a breath and replied publicly, "I'm not here to fit into anyone's frame. I'm here to build my own." That reply went viral. The next morning, her notifications overflowed with messages from women thanking her for saying what they never dared to say. From then on, her page wasn't just fashion, it was philosophy. As her following grew, small brands reached out for collaborations. She modeled handmade jewelry, local fabrics, natural skincare. She didn't pretend to be perfect. She made imperfection stylish. She said fashion should serve people, not the other way around. Her authenticity was magnetic. Within a year, she had thousands of followers, and her name became shorthand for boldness. But success brought its own storms. Friends she trusted drifted away. Some said she had changed. Maybe she had. Growth always looks like arrogance to those who refuse to grow. She kept creating anyway. At 26, she was invited to appear in a digital fashion campaign highlighting diversity. Standing among models of every shade and size, she felt both ordinary and infinite. When the director asked each woman to describe beauty in one word, Devotha said, "Freedom." The camera lingered on her face a second longer, as if agreeing. That campaign opened doors. She was featured in magazines, invited to panel talks, asked to model for designers who once ignored her. But her proudest moment wasn't fame. It was seeing young followers post photos captioned, "If Devotha can, I can." Still, the spotlight isn't always warm. There were nights when she stared at her screen, exhausted by the performance of perfection. Sometimes she missed anonymity. Sometimes she missed the girl on the balcony with nothing but a borrowed dress. On one particularly lonely night, she turned off her phone, lit a candle, and wrote in her journal, "Remember who you are when no one is watching." That reminder saved her. From then on, Devotha balanced ambition with peace. She took breaks. She read poetry. She walked barefoot on grass to remember that grounding is as important as growing. Then came the day everything changed. A global brand looking to rebrand its image approached her, not for her looks, but for her message. They wanted her to lead a campaign about self-acceptance. She almost said no. "I'm not ready for anything global," she joked. The agent replied, "That's exactly why you are." During the shoot, surrounded by cameras and stylists, she realized that this was bigger than fashion. It was about rewriting representation. When the campaign launched, her image appeared on billboards with the tagline, "Beauty has no template." People stopped her on the street to say thank you. Letters arrived from girls across continents who felt seen for the first time. Devotha cried quietly, understanding that the girl who once couldn't find her reflection had now become one for others. But success doesn't freeze life. Seasons change. She faced creative burnout, heartbreak, public scrutiny. Every time she returned to her mantra, breathe, rebuild, begin again. She started mentoring young creators online, offering workshops on confidence, storytelling, and self-photography. Her favorite advice was always the simplest. Don't chase validation, chase vision. Her voice carried across platforms, across borders. People called her a movement more than a model. Yet she remained humble, still posting raw photos, still celebrating others. Years later, standing backstage at a major fashion week, she looked out at an audience buzzing with anticipation. The lights dimmed, the announcer's voice boomed. "Walking for the House of Lumiere, Devotha." She stepped onto the runway, calm and luminous. Every stride was a thank you to her younger self. The music rose, cameras flashed, and for a moment time folded into itself. The girl from the balcony and the woman under the spotlight became one. After the show, reporters crowded around asking for quotes. She smiled and said, "Beauty isn't something I became, it's something I finally stopped hiding." That line became legendary. Her journey didn't end there. Devotha used her influence to start a foundation promoting fashion education for girls from rural areas. She wanted to give them what she once needed, a chance. Her foundation slogan read, "Teach a girl to stitch, and she'll design her destiny." She spent the next few years traveling, mentoring, creating art that fused culture and couture. Each new project was a love letter to resilience. On her 30th birthday, she returned home to visit her parents. Her mother, now older, still kept that safety pin she once pinned to Devotha's bag. "You never lost your courage," she said. Devotha smiled. "I just learned how to wear it differently." That night, she went to the rooftop, looked at the same stars she once made wishes on, and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me when I wanted to give up on myself." The city below shimmered like a runway. Somewhere, another dreamer was probably taking her first photo, hoping the world would see her. Devotha smiled, knowing it would. Because every time one woman chooses to be visible, she opens a door for countless others. As the story fades, imagine the screen dissolving into a montage of Devotha walking through sunlit streets, laughter spilling over a cafe table, cameras clicking in rhythm with her heartbeat. The narrator's voice softens. This is what Bioglam Curvy Models celebrates. Not perfection, but presence. Not standards, but stories. Not glamour for its own sake, but the courage to say, "Here I am." And if you're watching this right now, wondering if you'll ever be enough, remember her journey. Remember how she began with a cracked mirror, a borrowed dress, and belief fierce enough to outshine fear. The secret is simple. You don't need to become someone else to be extraordinary. You just need to become yourself loudly enough that the world finally listens. So wherever you are, on a balcony, in a studio, behind a screen, take your first photo. Take your first step. Let the light find you. Because this isn't just her story, it's ours. Welcome again to Bioglam Curvy Models, where beauty meets confidence and every curve tells a story. The music fades, the lights dim, and the screen fills with the final line, "Be the light you've been waiting for."